I'm Ricky Dunnigan. I'm from Kansas originally.
I'm Courtney Dunnigan, originally McCarty. I'm from Chickasha, Oklahoma.
We're doing a digital memoir. What we're hoping to get out of this is mainly for our kids. For me, I want my kids to be able to know me. Here recently, for me, we've lost a lot of family, very young ages, and I know Courtney, she lost her dad. How old was your dad?
50.
50. And how old were you?
I was a junior in college, so 22.
I think the main thing is that we want our kids to be able to know us and like where they came from, and to know that we probably went through some of the same struggles they're going through. Something that happened to us, they have this digital memoir to look back on and maybe laugh at us or something. Because I know we're gonna laugh. We're gonna have a lot of fun doing it. Tonight's video is about how we met each other, and this is gonna be the
real version.
The real version, the truth. Yeah. So I guess we get started. So we want to start at
the beginning.
I don't know what year it was. Was it 2009?
End of 2008. We officially met in 2009.
Okay. Well, somewhere in there. I used to work for Farmers Insurance. I was a catastrophe adjuster with Farmers Insurance, and I was working some claims down in Austin, Texas. And one day my boss, at the time, Jason, he called me out one to say, "Hey, you need to come out to dinner with us." I'm like, "Nah, I'm good. I'm trying to chill in my hotel." He was like, "No, you need to come out. There's this girl that you need to see." And come out. I was like, I don't really care. I'm good. He said, "No, come out." So a lot of peer pressure later, I ended up going out with him, and I ended up meeting this girl, Jessica Monroe, her roommate. How do you know Jessica?
Oh, we go way back, like 13 and under age softball, like way back in the day.
I go out with Jessica, and we have a good time, have some drinks and stuff. So I was out with Jessica, and she said that her MySpace page said.
You might want to explain what MySpace is.
MySpace was kind of like the first Facebook, except for you didn't have a whole lot of friends. It was like your top 8 friends on your page. You had your annoying music that played when everyone came to your page. So Jessica said that on her MySpace page it said her milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. And I was like, it does not say that. She's like, yeah, it does. I was like, I don't believe it. She's like, call my friend Courtney. I was like, okay. So she gives me the phone number, and I call her, Courtney, on my phone. I'm like, hey, does Jessica's MySpace page say that her milkshake brings all the boys to the yard? And she was like, yes. I was like, okay, bye, click, hung up. And so later that night, I was like, and this is all, I've been drinking, obviously. Off of one word, her saying yes, I was like, she seemed pretty cool, I'll text her. And so I started texting her, and she was responding back to me.
Back in the days of the Razor phone.
The Razor phone, yeah.
Before smartphones.
Yeah, they didn't have any smartphones. The next day, I was like, I remember, oh, that girl, she was so cool. I had a good time talking to her, and I was like, yeah, I'll text her again. So I pretended to be drunk, and I was texting her, and I was like messing up my words on purpose, so that way I could play it off if she thought I was a weirdo, I could like just blame it on the drinking again. She was responding to texts, good conversation through text. I was like, I'm gonna accidentally call her. So I called her, and I was slurring my speech and stuff and pretending I was drunk. I was completely sober. I wanted to blame it on the alcohol.
He also left out the fact that he and my roommate made out, and that he had a girlfriend at the time. So I love that he left that part out of the story. But continue.
Well, okay, so I did have a girlfriend, but it was on the way I was dating this kind of crazy girl, and I was like absolutely out of mind. That's a story for another day. But I was legit though, was I not?
You're honest.
We talked, but I was like, hey, let's not like do anything, because if we do get something started, I want to make sure it's legit and make sure there's no like side chick type stuff going on.
Not happening.
So anyway, so fast forward
a whole 2 weeks.
Yeah. I was living in Dallas at the time, and I had some business in Kansas City. I was like, hey, do you mind if I come through and take you on a date? And she was like, yeah. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm super excited about this. And so keep in mind, once again, this is before like social media and camera phones and stuff like this. So I had never seen her. I just only had talked to her on the phone. And when I say we talked on the phone, we talked a lot. Like I knew almost everything about her. I mean, we talked so much. So this is like before you just get, you know, before we met someone, you just learned everything about
her. Talk on the phone till like 3 in the morning.
And just about everything and everything. We didn't hold anything back. Mm-hmm. I mean, we were very, I don't know what the word is. I don't know if it's
open.
Open, very open. Yeah. About the conversations we were having. So it felt really comfortable. I felt really at ease with her, talking with her. You know, I feel like I've known her for a long time. So she said she agreed to the date. I get in my car, I start driving. I'm about, I don't know, 30, 40 minutes outside of her house. I'm like, oh my God. I'm getting nervous. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to see this girl. I've never met her. Cause so no pictures, never seen anybody, because you don't have social media back then. You didn't have these camera phones. So I'm like, oh my God.
We weren't MySpace friends.
And yeah, is that such a thing?
I think so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because you had your top 8.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember. I mean, I had a MySpace page for a little brief period. But.
So I'm getting nervous. I'm like, oh my God, you know, just being real full, you know, just being honest. I was like, oh my God, what if she's ugly?
Okay, I was stressing about the same thing. I'm like, oh my God, I don't even know what he looks like. What if he's weird? I mean, I know he's weird, but what if he's really weird? Thankfully it wasn't. So I show up at her house, and she opens the door and I'm like, ah, wow, she's gorgeous. I just remember like, wow. I mean, that's it. I didn't have any other things, but like, cause I was still, the nervousness was still there. Butterfly. I mean, I felt the same. I'm like, okay, good. He's good looking. He's not ugly. I can handle this.
So we went on our first date.
At Zio's.
Zio's Italian Kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea. I can't remember what I ate. I'm pretty sure I ate spaghetti. I'm so
boring.
Plain and boring. Yeah. So
very boring with food.
Yeah.
That's whole another video.
So at first it was awkward for me. It was awkward for me because
I think it was just the nerves and not really knowing what to expect when you talk to someone on the phone for so long, but you actually don't really like know them as in conversations face to face. So I think it was just kind of nerve-wracking and I don't know, like nervous feeling.
You gotta go back a little bit. It's another reason why I was super nervous is before I even met her.
Oh yeah, how could I even forget this? So what, like 2.5 weeks in?
After talking on the phone.
Yeah, after talking, and he had told me he loved me through text, so I didn't really know how to respond to it because it was like, I heart you, and I was like, what? Like, what does that mean? How do you even interpret text messages that have no context? And it's like, is he saying like, I love you like a friend, I love you, like, or I love you. So I was like, I heart you too? Like, I don't know. I don't even know what he's really saying here. We'll go with it.
So I'm nervous, but the conversation is going on. It's going really good. It was really good, and we had great chemistry. I started warming up. I was like, okay, yeah, this is the girl that I told her that I loved her before I even met her. So kids, friends, family, I did tell my current wife.
Oh, is there gonna be more than one?
No, my forever wife, the only wife for me. That's I love her. Yeah, this is the girl I love. So I went to Kansas, did my stuff there, and I was like, hey, can I take you on another date on the way back through? And she was like, yeah, awesome. So I came back through, had another date with her. It was awesome, and we had a good time. She did kiss me. There was no situations going on. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I mean, I don't know. I hope that's a good thing still. I don't know. So good for us. So anyways, fast forward the next week, I got deployed.
7 days.
Huh?
I said a whole 7 days.
Whole 7 days, I know. I got deployed in my city in Dallas where I was living at the time to work there. And I called her up and said, hey, I'm going to be working down here in Dallas. What do you think about coming down and seeing me again? And she's like, yeah. So she drove down
I-35, which is a horrible highway to drive down. If you know the area between Oklahoma City and Dallas, it's awful.
So while I would work, I come out to work and we go out to dinner and stuff like that. And it was.
Was that when you bought me that GPS and wrapped it with the like newspaper, or what was it? Was that day?
Yeah, I bought you my first present to her. Look at you. My first present to her was a GPS. This is before you had phones and GPS and stuff, kids. And so I bought her a Garmin GPS and I wrapped it from Best Buy. Yeah. And I wrapped it in the I don't know.
It was like,
I wrapped it in a sack. I wrapped it in a sack, and then I used the Best Buy as like a blue bag as a bow, and I just kind of stuck it on there. I was like, super fancy. I thought I was impressed with myself.
It was impressive.
Awesome weekend again. We had a great time. So the very next weekend, I was still in Dallas, still working. I was like, why don't you come down again? Comes down again. Obviously, we were talking the entire time when she wasn't with me in Dallas. We were still talking all the time, just really getting to know each other and stuff. And obviously, I loved her. And so one night, we're in my apartment in Dallas, and we're sitting around. It was me, my best friend at the time, Brian Beard, and
Jessica.
Her roommate Jessica, the one who introduced us,
yeah.
kinda-ish.
The one he made out with.
And so we're sitting around the table, having some drinks, and you know how you say things kind of like jokingly, just to like trying to feel someone out, just see what they're gonna say. She looks over at me and she says, hey, you should move to Oklahoma. I was like, okay, whatever. Because at that time I could live wherever I wanted to, because of my job, I was a virtual employee, so I could live anywhere. And so I was like, okay. So she goes home, whatever. That week I was like, if I'm moving to Oklahoma, I'm getting married. And so I go get a ring, and it was like, this ain't good enough. So I go back, take it back, get her a better ring. Bam!
I have some additions onto it.
And some additions to it now for anniversaries and Mother's Day. So I called my cousin up. I was like, hey, I need you, my cousin Jaron. I was like, hey, I need you to help me move my stuff out of my apartment because I'm moving to Oklahoma now. And so I moved to, so I pack all my stuff up, I drive to Oklahoma, I show up at her door, and I'm like, hey, what's going on? And so me and my cousin began to
invade my house.
Yeah. So that happened. So this is a funny thing. She didn't tell me this until like we've been married for like 3-4 years. And so in my head, I'm moving to Oklahoma because I'm like, I'm getting married, but obviously I didn't tell her that. But what were your thoughts when I showed up?
In my head, I didn't want to drive to Dallas down I-35 anymore. So I was like, hey, if we're dating, like you should move to Oklahoma. So like we won't have to have as long of a commute. Like get an apartment and move to Oklahoma so we can be closer together. But yeah, he showed up at my door with his stuff and was like, hey, I'm ready to move in.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I guess we're doing that then. Cool, yeah. I got some extra bedrooms. Put your stuff in that room.
So yeah. So I didn't know that at the time. I didn't know that till I've been married for a while, so that's hilarious.
It'd be really awkward if we broke up.
Right? Oh my God, it was so bad. So anyway, so I'm like, I had plans to bring her to Kansas City. I was gonna propose to her down at the fountains on the plaza, whatever, really pretty down there. And my boss calls me and he's like, hey, we need you in Denver for 3 weeks. And I was like, oh crap, I don't wanna wait 3 weeks to ask her to marry me.
Because that would be the same amount of time we've really been dating, but sure.
Yeah.
Who wants to wait 3 more weeks?
Yeah. So I call her, she's at work, I'm sitting at home, like, hey, why don't you wear something nice tonight? I want to take you out to dinner because I got to go for a couple weeks to Dallas, and Denver, and I want to spend, make it a special night or whatever. And she's like, okay, yeah. She comes out in this, God, I can't remember what, it was a silver dress? Mm-hmm. You wear a shirt now. Or
I shrunk it.
Yeah, she shrunk it. And
Not intentionally.
Yeah, it was sexy. I'll show a picture of it at some point in this video. She was looking, wow. Yeah, you were looking fire. You was like. So So we get down at the bar or whatever, and she finds a wine that she likes, and so I'm like, every time it gets low, I'm literally telling the waitress, send her another one, send her another one, send her another one, and then I'm like, oh shit, I need her sober when I ask her to marry me. We saw a bench out, this is Lake Hefner. There was a lighthouse out there, and we saw a bench. We're like, we're gonna sit on that bench after we get done eating and just like enjoy the nice weather.
The lake.
So we're out there, we're walking out there, and she had been
stumbling out there.
She had a few drinks, whatever. And so we get out there on the bench, and it's a gorgeous night, or maybe it wasn't a gorgeous night. I can't remember. I just remember her being gorgeous, and I started my spiel, whatever, telling her how much I loved her and all this. I wish I recorded because I'm pretty sure it was the most epic proposal of all time.
Yeah, I wish I remembered more of it. But you know, maybe if you'd not given me so much wine, I probably would have.
So I get down on my knees and I go, Courtney, and I pause because I'm like, I can't remember her middle name because we hadn't been dating that long at all.
4 weeks.
4 weeks. Yeah, 4 weeks. That's it. And I go, it was our 4th date. It was literally our 4th date, and we made it. Yeah. And I go, and I remember like, Courtney, Chanel McCarty, will you marry me? And instantly, I've never seen anyone sober up so fast. She went from like stumbling drunk to like instant.
I think I was in shock.
Yeah.
I think our whole relationship has been a roller coaster of shocking things that happen.
I could agree with that. And so she said yeah, obviously, and we, coming in April, we were married 8 years. Mm-hmm. So for people keeping track who know, our first date was on
May 14th.
May 14th, and we got engaged on June 17th that same year. So
like both 2009.
Yeah, a month and 3 days we got engaged. And we would have been married in October. I wanted to get married just as soon as possible. I was like, yeah, this is the one for me.
But it was already June, and there's not enough time to plan a wedding to get married for me to have an outdoor wedding, which is what I wanted.
Yeah. which is a whole nother thing.
Yeah, I'm like thinking back now, we could have saved so much money and not. We could have just had a cheap wedding, like.
But it was fun.
Oh, it was a blast.
Great. But that's a story, a wedding plan. We're gonna get to a video about that later. Yeah. As far as like us meeting in that process and being married, you know, getting married so early, you know, we got a lot of questions about it because people were asking like, wow, you guys got engaged and married
it was
so fast.
I wouldn't, you know, it doesn't happen like that for everyone, I don't think, and it is, you know, rather fast, but, you know, thankfully we were right in our initial assessments and that, you know, it was true and true love and we, you know, made the right decision. But yeah, no, your quote was, time does not define a relationship, the people involved do.
Look at you, that memory, yeah. To everyone else around us, it seemed to move really fast, but for us, it was just natural. Mm-hmm. So what I want to add in here for you guys is like some of the struggles with friends and family with the quick engagements and marriage stuff. So yeah, think about this. This is we're after a month of dating, we're telling everybody that we're getting married.
Some people didn't even know I had a boyfriend yet.
I guess that's true for me too. I guess nobody really knew I was
because we weren't really boyfriend girlfriend. It was straight from, hey, let's go on a couple dates to, we're engaged.
I don't think about it. Yeah, my parents didn't know that we were together at all. It just next thing you know, we're getting married. That was it. So that's weird.
It's crazy when you really sit down to think about it.
Yeah, when you really think about it, it's absolutely insane.
It didn't seem crazy at the time.
No, but you reflect, it's like, oh wow.
Like.
No, so we would, I guess,
Aubrey and Cork, don't do that. Yeah. Unless you really are sure.
But we're gonna test them first to make sure everything's good. FYI. So let's talk about now some of the reactions we got from like friends and family that we did. Let's talk about our friends first. How did your friends react to you getting married after or getting engaged after such a short time?
I mean, I just think they were in shock. Like, are you sure? You don't even know this guy? Like, he's not even from here. Your friends don't even know him. Like, you don't really, like, you know, I mean, you knew Jessica, but it's not like y'all were best friends, or you didn't know each other for years and years. It was kind of like, I feel like you're moving too fast, but they wouldn't say that. They were happy for me. You know, they could tell I was happy, and you know, as long as you made me happy, I think they were okay with it. Just shocked, for sure.
For friends, for me, like I think the biggest thing was my friend Brian. I had known this guy since my sophomore year of high school. We've been friends forever. And still are, yeah. One of my best friends ever. That was like the hardest one for me, getting by, because as soon as I told him, he was just like not on board at all. He was like, what are you doing? You don't even know what love is. Why are you doing this so fast? And you know, I was angry about it at the time, because I was like, you're my best friend, you know, you're supposed to be with me. But after I became older, you know, at this point, I knew it was coming from a place of love. So I do appreciate you, man. But I'd let you know, I was fucking, oops.
I mean, that's real.
Yeah, I was mad. I was very mad that you didn't have my back on that. But you know, I know where, you know, as an adult, you know, I know where it's coming from. So I do appreciate you caring about me. But one of the crazy things, it sucked because I wanted him at my wedding, and we were not really vibing at the time, and so ended up he not being my wedding. But
he came.
Yeah, he came to the wedding, which is awesome. And FYI, you know, we're tight again. I talk to him damn near every day. But that was one of the hardest relationships that suffered. My best girlfriend of all time, Amanda Kegley. Yeah,
call her out.
Call her out. Yeah, she gave me the business too about it too. Yeah, she was not particularly thrilled about my decision to get married so quickly. Family-wise,
that's a tough one.
Yeah, so originally we didn't know if we wanted to talk about this or not, but it wouldn't really be doing the kids what we're preparing them for, because you know, one of the tough things about us, you know, the time right now, or 9 years ago when we first met, is like still interracial dating wasn't really like the biggest thing smile on, especially when you get engaged after 4 weeks.
Especially after you only date for like a month.
Yeah. So, you know, you got that in there, and so my parents, like I said, I never talked to them about her originally until we knew we were getting married. They didn't know I was dating her or not. Just all of a sudden we're getting married. So my mom, I can't really tell you what her reaction was, except for like, I think she was excited that I was getting married. My mom's like this old, like, she's like one of those big romanticism people, like, oh, it's so beautiful that you're getting married. She's like overly happy, more than me, so it's like kind of annoying too, because like, you can't be more happy about me. I'm the one getting married. How are you more happy than me? My dad, he's that old school stoic guy, so he's like, kind of like,
that's good, Slick, that's good.
So, that sounds just like him. Yeah. I mean, no one really said anything.
I think no one is surprised by the crazy decisions that you make in life.
That's fair.
So, you know, I mean, not that you ever got married before, but you probably made some questionable decisions.
Yeah.
It was tough for me. You know, obviously I lost my dad when I was in college, so unfortunately he didn't get to meet Ricky or our kids. You know, it was a bit of, I don't want to say a surprise, you know, but it was, I didn't know that it was going to be an issue. And obviously my mom and my stepdad both love him now, but it was a process, and I think a lot of it had to do with them not knowing him at all, and obviously they felt like I didn't know him at all. And you know, they just wanted to look out for me. And I know, like you said, with Brian, I know it was from a place of love, but it was challenging. but we're, you know, they've had a chance to get to know you, and obviously over the years, and you know,
it's always a work in progress.
yeah, everything is a work in progress. And in my mom's defense, I mean, you know, maybe I have dated some questionable characters in college.
We'll get to that too.
In college, I dated some questionable characters, so you know, it is what it is. But we all have those crazies in our lives, right? You had one when I met you.
Yeah, we'll talk. Let's go into that too. Okay. So let's talk about the whole process, like that whole just month of dating, getting married. I mean, would you change anything?
I don't think so. I mean, yeah, we got engaged quickly, but we dated for a long time after that. You know, we didn't get married until it's been a full year, basically. So, I mean, while we were engaged, I mean, we were still dating.
Yeah.
So, it was still getting to know each other. I mean, we still learn things about each other every day. You know, his eating just keeps getting pickier and pickier. So, he loves to leave the doors open. That's great. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. But no, I wouldn't change anything.
As far as like how our process went, no, I'm still comfortable with it today. And she's right, the whole, like, even though we got engaged quickly, we still had a whole year, not a whole year, but a good portion of the year, yeah, for me to court her and, like, you know, and get to know her some more. And, you know, just so you know, we did do some premarital coaching or whatever, where it was like the real deal. We sat down with one of our youth pastors at our church at the time that we were going to.
Shane and Janet.
And they were a young couple. I think they at that point had been married like 5 years, maybe.
Maybe longer than that, because they had both their girls.
Okay. Well, they were a young couple, and they hadn't been married long, so which was awesome to get a perspective, like someone close to your age, instead of like going to like a pastor or a preacher or someone and like them downloading to you, but you could be more comfortable with them and get to know about. So they put the tough questions on us. It was like,
they did not hold back.
No, like it was like and I agree with this. Like you should like talk about everything. You talk about like finances, children, sexual stuff, that, you know,
religion, everything.
Like what your expectations are in that.
Yeah, and those are deal breakers. I mean, you need to know how someone feels about, you know, those things that you have to know before you get married. I mean, I think it's really important. What are their goals? What are you trying to achieve? I mean, those are important things to know.
Because there's some core things that you're just not gonna ever fix. Love is not enough to fix someone's financial bad habits. Love is not enough to not agree on children. I mean, it's just, those are core things about a person that those are, like, you don't want to end up regretting someone. Oh, I thought about something that I would go back and change if I could. I mean, realistically, it was 2009, so I was almost 29 when we had officially started talking. I was 28 during that period. I was 28. Yeah. I was almost 29, and I wish I would have. I mean, realistically, I wish I had met her sooner, because I had been in a lot of relationships up to her, and like the reason why I moved, I guess one of the reasons I moved so fast, because it felt good. It was like, I mean, not to say my other relationships were bad, just that they weren't the right person for me to spend my life with. They were great friends. They were good friends. I'm still friends with most of them today, except for the crazy one. And so if I wish I would have met her and spend more time with you, like at 24, 25, like in that age.
Kind of your own fault, because you bounced around and moved all kinds of places. I was in Oklahoma my entire life, so
yeah,
just saying.
Yeah, but I
know what you mean.
Yeah, but any earlier than that, if it was like 19 to like 23, I would have wrecked that relationship. I would have wrecked us. We would not be good together. But once I figured out who I was and what I wanted for myself, because I mean, I'm a big believer in you can't love someone else until you love yourself. And I didn't fully get myself or fully love myself until I was 24, 25. So yeah.
Makes sense. If you can't be 100% your authentic self with someone, then I mean, I just don't get it how people can't do that. Like, one of the this is gonna be gross. One of the big things for me, it's like, you know, I mean, if you're going to like go number one, go number two, or if you need to fart, like, I'm sorry, it's serious. If you can't do that around your spouse, I'm sorry, like, I'm gonna be my authentic self around you, whether you like it or not.
She is. Believe
I do.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, there's no shame at all.
Nope. It's a natural function of the body. I'm just using that as an example, though.
Yeah.
I mean, in all seriousness, if you can't, you know, joke around, if you can't be who you are when you're with someone, then why are you with them? Why are you putting on a front? Why are you not being who you really are? I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Courtney gets me at full tilt, like out of 10,
Out of
all the time. She gets me my full personality all the time, and she loved it and she embraced it, and that was like awesome because I didn't have to like dial it back. I could just be this insane person, and she got it, and she got me, and yeah. So I love her for it, and I'm glad that we did move fast and get in this. So that's it for the first video. I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you guys learned something about us. I want to keep making these for you guys, so you know, something ever did happen to us, you'd be able to know that you're not alone, and we've been through some of the things that you've been through. So thank you. Anything?
Nope.
All right,
Love you. That's for Cork.
That's our sign. Those peace signs all the time.